Hope you guys liked that showcase video. That probably took me forever. So yeah, I'm not really that good with editing. So this is just like more of a little bit of a longer tangent on how exactly this thing works and what are like the more specific specifications this pixel processing unit has. So as we all know from the video, it has a 44 upwards by 63 this way screen. Do not ask why it's 63. I may or may not have accidentally fat fingered a 63 instead of a 62 in the very beginning, and it's just been like that since. So, that's nice. But so I'm just gonna uncover the different layers of this thing and how they all work. This is gonna be a very long video, and the editing is probably going to be bad. So if you're not like really interested in this stuff, then I recommend you do stop watching now. Okay, so obviously this screen, we're going to start from the front and we're going to go all the way to the back. So the screen at the front has two main memory buffers. It has one that is constantly it has one that is constantly displaying to the screen, and that is like the front one. And on the back we have another one in the back which is not constantly displaying to the screen, but it is the one that is directly edited by all like the hardware behind it that we can see over here. And we can't swap them. We can just write whatever's in the back one to the front one, and that just overwrites whatever's in the front one. So basically all the action happens in the back one, we just swap it with the front one, in order so we can't see the frame drawing everything out. Okay, now moving even further back here, we have the pixel plotter. This is just one matrix decoder we have for just point plotting. We also use it for other stuff in some cases, but not really over here. Okay, now I'm gonna go on to the line hardware. So how lines work in this pixel processing unit is you input. They're straight lines, horizontal or vertical. So if let's say we're going to do vertical, you'd input x1 and you'd input x2, and you input a single y coordinate. And the y coordinate, well, that would be pretty easy, right? You just put it in here, just one thing, and it gets decoded for over here. The x is a little bit more difficult because that's to decode for a range of values in between two specific points. And how I have it do that is it's like something like this. This is x1, this is x3. 1, 2, yeah, 4. 4. So if we wanted to select, let's say we wanted the starting point to be x1, we'd select it, and bam, you can see it's x1. And let's say we wanted the ending point to be x2, what we would do is we would do this. Okay, my bad. But you see how it would work like that. So now we stop it and we only have from x1 to x2, and it won't go backwards because we have the comparator, and that stops it from going backwards. Obviously there are a lot of flaws with the system. First thing being that it's slow as hell. Like let's say we stop, let's just imagine that scaled up slow, and that's one disadvantage of the system. I couldn't really think of anything else to decode for a range of values, so this is the system I used. And it's pretty much the same concept for the Y decoder. I just chose to demonstrate the X because it's a lot simpler. And then for hollow lines, as I like to call them, it's just really just 2 points. I did extremely overcomplicate this, but it's really just two separate matrix decoders. You have one for the first point and you have one for the second point, and that's it. And that's how we do rectangles. So how we would do it, right? So for the first step, we would decode for we would decode for the range of y values, and we would only decode for these two x values. I'll just do this. And this is the thing we end up with. All the y values are going this way and all the x values are going this way, and it only fills in the ones they meet. Obviously there's a problem with this. We don't have these two blocks filled in. So the next step would be to do that, and to remove that and to make it a range of x values and only the two y values we have over here. And that fills in this gap we have over here. And that's how we get hollow rectangles like that, or hollow squares. That is actually surprisingly difficult. It does take 2 steps. And filled rectangles are pretty easy because you could just do 2 range and you do that in 1 step. Bam. Okay, now as we move further back, it does get slightly more complicated. And that's pretty much it for all of that. Yeah. And honestly, the biggest part of this CPU, GPU, PPU, whatever, pixel processing unit is sprites and text, just because that's incredibly difficult. So how sprites work is I'm gonna explain it I'm gonna explain in how would 1/2 work, okay? So we have these 8 different points over here, and each one gets a separate matrix decoder, as we can see over here. So let's focus on one point. So let's say this one point we're going to focus on is going to be the bottom left corner of this thing over here. And we'll focus on this point just because it's easier. Okay, so the sprite in terms of the sprite, right? This point would be 0, 0. This point is 0, 0. So we have this sprite has its own separate coordinates that are separate from the display. And if we wanted to perform a transformation on these coordinates to translate it somewhere else, we would just add. So let's say we wanted to transform this sprite to be on the coordinates x equals 5, y equals 10. So then this 0, 0 gets changed to a 0 plus 5 and a 0 plus 10, right? And for this 1, 0, it would be 1 plus 5, 0 plus 10. And for the 0, 1, it would be 0 plus 5, 1 plus 10, right? And you can calculate those yourselves. Let's say this 1, 1, right? It would be 1 plus 5, 1 plus 10. And those give us the coordinates that we need to paste onto the screen. And that's how we do that. But this only works for 1/2, right? Let's say we also wanted to do another half. That's going to be invisible here, but so how would we do that? Well, we have this half over here, and we want to translate it onto this half. How do we do it? We add 2 to it. We add 2 to the coordinates of this half, so we can get the second half mode, right? So these coordinates we add 2 to. So it would be, we had 2x, right? So we add 2 plus 0 plus 5 and 0 plus 10 for x. And only the x values change because, as you can see, the y values remain the same across, but the x values do not remain the same across. So that's how these 4x4 sprites work. And yeah, and we have to do that. We have to do this 2 times for every single sprite we want to paste onto the screen. And I said I was going to talk about 5x5 sprites. These are pretty complicated. They're not technically supported, but I have included some extra hardware that you can see below me, just for 5x5 sprites in particular, because those are a lot more useful than 4x4 sprites. So how 5x5 sprites work, right? And I'm pretty sure you can see how this is going to work, right? And from this, obviously, we can assemble up to 8x8, but in hopes of keeping my soul intact, I decided to just cut off this extra part that we would not need for 5x5, and just to make that hardware a little bit easier on me. So as you can see, we are putting 4 different sprites in to make a 5x5 sprite. So we repeat that cycle of doing this half, then this half 3 more times to make it 5x5, and that's why I'm saying this is very, very slow. You are able to see the cycle, but it's like extremely slow. So how I have it working is you do this one, then this one, then this sprite, and then this final dot. And obviously, how would you translate this half over here? Well, I'm pretty sure you could think of it, say it with me, add 4. Same thing with add 4 to the x, and here you add 4 to y for this purple, and for this black you add 4 to both x and y, and that's just how it works. And that's how 5x5 sprites work. Sorry if the explanation was like a little bad. I'm not really the best at explaining things. Okay, now okay, so we have all those pixels turned on, and we can print it at 0. And we can print it at 0, 0, because that will be a little bit easier. Right. Wow, my game is lagging. Okay. So we freeze the game and we hit the plot button. you'll be able to see it pasting in the different halves. Right, okay, that's okay, yeah. You see the first half, and let me just speed it up a little bit. And then you see the second half. As I said, it's very slow. Okay, and that's it for sprites. And then we have text, which is all the way in the back because its module does not support pass-through. So if you want to like add some more modules to this pixel processing unit, you're gonna have to move the text to the back. But yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. I did not want to, I wanted text to be a little bit faster than sprites just because it's going to be a little bit more commonly used in anything. So it's a separate hardware from sprites, and a disadvantage of it being not sprite-like is you can only put text in certain locations. As you can see, text doesn't work in any of these, and it only works in like certain y coordinates. Like you can only put text in this row or this row. You can't put them like starting over here because that just wouldn't work. It would be messy as hell. And that has like a separate, text has a separate XY grid for places that for like character slots, I guess. I don't really know how to say it. And we have a separate ROM, of course, here. You can add on to it if you want. The decoder comes with it. Yeah. It comes with characters, all letters, all numbers, and a few like other math characters, pretty much. And yeah, that's actually pretty much it for this pixel processing unit. I'm not really sure if I'm like just like doing a good job explaining. Let me know in the comments. Yeah, this is it. It's very big. It's extremely big, and yeah, that's just how this thing works. I'm not gonna demonstrate anything because it literally does take a while, and my PC is actually like crying right now just because of how laggy this thing is. I try to move it into another world. Only problem is world edit does not like just like cries whenever I try to paste it. So yeah, and that's it. Thanks for watching this thing I made, and yeah, I'll link whoever helped me with this project in the description. And thanks for watching.